Hi guys, I'm Ree.
I'm Mar.
And this is The Need to Know. So guys, I definitely got a new hairstyle, just so you guys know. Facts. I don't think you guys see me in braids, but now you did.
Never.
I don't think you guys ever see me in braids. My hair's been in a fro. My hair's been different colors.
Yeah, red, blonde.
Yeah, it had, but never braids, so got a new one this time. We don't have any guests. We had a wonderful topic for you guys, but we're gonna push it back. But we're doing something that we've done before. We got 3 topics for you today. We're gonna talk about dating someone with kids, podcast, and rekindling. Rekindling, I'm gonna get to it later because I'm kinda still figuring out what I'm trying to really say and how to say it. So we're gonna start with dating with children. Have we dated somebody with children? Do we want to date somebody with children? Is it okay to date somebody with children? Yeah, I almost dated somebody with children. He had a son, and he was really cute. He was so adorable. But like, I never.
Wait, the son or the
son? The son. Like, he was so cute. Like, he just went up to play. Like, he was chilling. He wasn't like annoying or like some kids are. But I like kids, so I can't really say they're annoying.
So what happened? Like,
I don't know. Me and him just didn't fuck with each other. Like, it just didn't pursue, I guess, in any way. I don't know. He was kind of he wasn't a vibe. Like, he wasn't somebody that I wanted to like get with. Like, I didn't want to pursue him the way he probably was trying to pursue me. Like, I was just chilling. Like, I didn't really want nothing from him, I guess, if that makes sense.
Did I date anybody?
People I dated have kids now, though.
That's crazy. That's mind blowing to me. Like, when I see that, I'm like, damn, like, but
too many of them too. Like,
a good few. Yeah.
And people that I've never expected like to have kids like right now, especially right now.
Yeah. I've dated somebody not with kids, but like right after we ended, not that far after they had a kid. So
that could have been him.
But yeah, I have a couple exes that have kids now, and it's like, not saying I didn't see them with kids. Like, there's one person that I could tell is like, you know, a good mom. Like, I could tell like she's gonna be just fine. But other people, it's like, I didn't expect. Like, nah, that's crazy. And to think, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird when it's like you dated somebody and then y'all broke up, and then like not long after they have a kid, it's kind of like, what if that was me? Like, me with a kid right now? Nah, bro. Like, but nah, I don't think I've ever like dated somebody or was interested in someone that had a kid.
I don't think it's nothing wrong with it. Like, I don't really like if I would like if you got like 5 kids, yeah, no, I don't think that. I don't think 1 or 2 I could probably work with. But if you got mad kids, like, that's too much for me. Like, 2? 2 is it's okay because if we really work it out, that's my kids. I'm not having no kids. I'm good. Those are my 2 kids.
Yeah,
I didn't have to pop out no babies. Like, those are my 2 kids.
Some people actually do that. Like, they date somebody who's like technically it's not your kids, but it's like
it's my kids now. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, we co-parenting together. Like, that's it. Like, those are my kids. Like, that mother is gonna love me. Like, those are my kids. Like, trust me. Like, we gonna be like.
I'm gonna ask that though. Like, what if the other parent like don't want that?
I mean, like, that's like, to me. Okay, so to me, I feel like, you know. So I'm gonna use this example. Like, I have all my siblings. Like, we all have different moms. So like, only my oldest siblings, like on my dad's side, like their mom, like, is super, like, we're not cool. Like, but like when I was younger, like, she didn't treat me bad or whatever. But like when I got older, and like her and my dad started beefing, like, then, like, you know, she started to do whatever she was doing. Like, she didn't like me or whatever.
Right.
But it's like, that has nothing, like, it shouldn't be like, you should still treat that child fine. Like, you know, you should still like co-parent. Like, my mom, like, she's like, that's not my business, you know, as long as you treat my child right, like, it is what it is. Like, and I'm the same way. Like, if I'm gonna be around your kids, like I'm not gonna do nothing to you. I'm not gonna discipline. I personally wouldn't discipline your kids, like because it's just like that's not my kid. If like we're in a relationship now and we decided that okay, like I'm allowed to discipline your kids, then okay, then I'm gonna jump in and be like, oh blah 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 blah. But like the most I would do is like, okay, you can't have that or blah blah blah. You know, I would verbally discipline them. Like it's not gonna be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna yell at them or blah blah blah. It's just like you can't have that, da 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 da. Other than that, you need to go to your mom, your dad. But it's just like I think that, you know, that's a lot of boundaries that people don't know how to like handle or situate. Especially because if we're young having kids, that's super. Everybody be all over the place. Like it's like I don't care. Like that's my man and da da da. Like it's not that serious. Like that it's a kid now. Like now you have kids involved. Like the kids safety is now something that you all have to worry about. Like if you're gonna date this person, and it's just like you shouldn't hate somebody just because they're dating somebody. Like if you end up wanting to date somebody else, like it should be the same way. Like oh, I should respect that this is what you want to do. Okay, I'm gonna introduce the kids to this person. Like it should only be like. Then that's another thing. Like I don't think that you should introduce people to your kids unless this is something that we've been together for a long period of time.
Right.
That's another thing. Like I don't think that like that's hard to. It's hard. Like kids get adapted. Like even if like we're like say we're dating, right, and you have a younger sibling or you have a niece or a nephew, like if I'm in the picture, like and I get introduced to them, it's like over time if we end up breaking up, like that's gonna like they're gonna think they're gonna be reminded of you, but then they're gonna see multiple other people. It's like that. Like that's kind of like it's similar, but it's not similar. But that's like it's the same scenario in terms of introducing you to somebody.
Yeah, I would think the same thing. I would think like introducing, like for me personally, I would introduce somebody I'm dating to my kid. Like once I'm in the mindset of like, all right, man, I'm about to propose to you, like I'm about to marry you, because I feel like.
No, but the kids.
Well,
not even. Gotta know the person first.
Yeah, not even propose. Yeah, because I feel like before you marry somebody, that should be. You're right. But at the same time, like it gotta be on like a serious level. If you feel like this is somebody you're not gonna be with for a while, like. Introducing somebody to a kid, like let's say that kid gets attached to that person. Now if y'all break up and y'all like you don't want them around, like that kid's gonna feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause some kids might get adapted so much to the point where like they feel like that's the parent now. So like if that person leaves and then like the dad is not there too, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Now you're messing with the kid's mind like on like who to love, cause now it feels like after a while like I can't get attached to nobody cause I feel like they're gonna leave after a while. So I feel like you're messing with a kid's mind when you introduce them to like multiple people over time, every time. So I feel like you should kind of keep it to a minimum, especially with a child's mind. Like it's very like fragile.
I think that women are more protective of that in terms of when they date. Like they usually don't want to introduce their kids to who they're dating, especially if they're casually dating, or if like even if they're dating for a long period of time, like they feel like they don't know if you're ready to be introduced to their child, and vice versa. Like if their child is going to be comfortable enough, and that's also a conversation that you should have with your child, especially if they're old. Only if they're old enough. Like if they're like early
toddlers and
like not even like if they're like that conversation. If you're comfortable with me dating, like that's a conversation you have when they're old enough and they know what dating is. Like so probably like in their teens, early teens, whatever that's called.
Oh, like the preteen.
Yeah, like, cause it's like.
But that time is tough too, cause like a lot of, like I would say for me, like when my mom was dating, when I was like 12, 13, like
kids are smart now though.
Yeah, they're very smart.
Kids are smart now.
They pick up on a lot of stuff.
They pick on a lot, so it's like, I think it would be like, compared to you as a child and compared to them now, you'll probably be like, okay, they'll probably understand like, okay, well, me and the mother or the dad is not, you know, we're not on good terms, or we're not together and we want to see other people, or we're, you know, da 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 da. Like I think that's something that you can sit down and talk to them about at that age and be like, okay, and they totally understand. They're like, you know, mommy, daddy, like I think that's okay, you know, I'm okay as long as you're happy. I've been seeing that all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, you'd be like, what? Like, that's my kid? Talking like that?
I don't know. Like I know for myself, like when I was around that age, like any guy that my mom brought, I was like, nah, I don't fuck with him. Like, but it wasn't saying like the guy was a bad guy. Like I knew he was probably like a good guy. He probably genuinely loved my mom. It was just more in the mode of like, it's either my dad or nobody else. But I feel like as you get older, like, and you realize like your mom's happiness is what matters, it's kind of like, all right, as long as he makes you happy, like if he cool, like, all right, I'll be all right. Like, I'm not gonna be buddy with him like on the first day, but like I'll have to like warm up to that. But as long as my mom is like genuinely happy and he's a good guy, then it's like I have no worries.
I can only say, like my mom didn't date after my dad, so like I wouldn't really know like how that feels. But like that's really crazy. Like I have not like been through that. A lot of stuff that people go through, like I haven't been through that. Like I haven't seen my mom date. My dad is whatever person he is. Like he does what he does. So like, I can't even, comment on that. But and I like people. So like I just feel like this is what it is. I like you want to date this person, that's your business. Like if I don't like something that they do over time, like and I feel uncomfortable, then yeah, But like usually something is always wrong that the person that shouldn't be doing it is doing it. Not even the person that they're dating, it's them.
Right.
So it's like you can't be mad at the person.
That's true. I mean, even though you're gonna like, you're always gonna lean more towards the parent. Like, say my mom does something wrong in their relationship.
It's the guy's fault?
It's not necessarily the guy's fault. Like, I know it's not his fault, but it's like I'm always gonna defend my mom just because she's my mom. Like, okay. So it's like I'm not gonna be like, nah, fuck you, blah blah blah. Like, but it's more like I'm by your mom, chill. Like, but then on the side, I put my mom, your mom, you was wrong. Like, nah. But in front of them two, like, nah, it's like, nah, bro. No matter what she did, like, I gotta defend her because it's my mom. Like,
I always defend my mom, but like, actually, my mom was always about it. Like, her and my dad, it was clipped. She's like, are you dumb? Like, well, those are my words, but like, it was never nothing. Like, my mom was always like, are you crazy? Like, so I don't know. I can't, like, I'm telling you, like, I can only say something on my dad's part and say like, my dad was with other people. But even then, I was too young and I didn't care. Like, I didn't care. I just like, as long as you treat me nice, I really don't care. Right. Like, and that's really, like, I think, like, for me, I think that's the only thing, like, because I wouldn't want to be treated wrong, like, I would want to treat, like, so I'm going to give, like, the kid attention, like, talk to him, blah, 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 play with them, like, treat them nice, because if I would want to be treated nice and I want you to treat me nice, and you're just a kid, I want you to treat me nice, I want you to like me, I want you to be comfortable with me, to actually be around me, like if you're around me, if your dad is around me, because it's just like, if you're not gonna be comfortable around me, how are you gonna be comfortable with him dating me?
Right.
So it's like, I think like that's another thing. So it's like, if I'm somewhere and I feel like you're gonna like something, I'm gonna get you something. For example, I can use this example, like, so I was introduced to my boyfriend's niece like super early on into our relationship, like literally like a couple months in. So like to me, like stuff like that, like younger siblings and like nieces and nephews, I think like those are kind of like taking place of like a kid sometimes, like right. If that's the case. No funny, I'm thinking just so you know, like she said it too, I was so weak. He had told me that the other day and I was laughing. He was like, oh, I asked her like, yo, what if you're gonna get a new aunt or whatever? She was like, are you crazy? She was like, no. I was like, I'm never leaving, like that's it, like it's clip. I was like, even if we break up, it's clip. Like can't bring nobody else. Like gotta be me. Like I'm the only one that can come around. Like I feel the same thing though. I was like, no funny. Like if we break up, like are you crazy? Like I'm never bringing nobody else around. Like you better come pretend like we together. Like that's it. I was like, we sanction. Like that's it. We having kids, all of that. Like I was like, if anything happened, like it's clip. Like you gotta act like we're together. Like, no funny, like I said this already, I was like, no, you gotta act like you together. I was like, you're the only person coming to the family functions, like, you sanctioned already, like my brother is already used to you, like it's clip, like it's clip.
Me, nah, I feel like it's too much to deal with. Like, I like kids, but I don't love them.
I love kids.
I don't.
Kids are cute. First of all, especially little boys, you go to the store, they got the fire fits. Are you crazy? Yo.
Boys, they demons, yo. Like,
it's okay, yo, but when you give them food, they be lit for the rest of the day. I'm telling you, little
food or like video games, like they be straight.
Whatever they like, whatever you got that they be in your face, give them that. They be alright. No funny, they be alright. You gotta give it to them, you gotta tell them no 1 or 2 times, and they be alright after that.
I don't know. I feel like it's doable, but for me, like I can't date nobody with kids. Like I just feel like it's too much. Cause now it's like I gotta impress you and your kid. Like that's mad energy. Like
that's mad energy.
That's no mad funny, energy.
No funny. If you can impress the kid and be good with the kid, you're gonna impress that person.
You're gonna impress the person, of course. Like, think about what
so
you
doing
my kid.
So you don't even gotta do too much after that. Like you're already in there now. Like
but I'm telling you, kids is mad. Like they demons, bro. Like. Kids, you could be the greatest person in the world, bro. Kids will not like you just to not like you. It's like, what? Yo, get out. Like, my mom don't like him. I'm like, I ain't even do nothing, bro. I'm just saying hi. Like, nah, kids, they wild, bro. Unless you got like a really like good kid, like he's mad humble, like I could deal with that. But most kids,
kids is smart though, like super smart. Like you would not expect half the things that they do, or to know half the things that they know. Like kids is super smart. We're gonna talk about podcasts now. Something that we were gonna do, but we're not gonna spoil it. But we're gonna just talk about podcasts in terms of us being on podcasts, our experience with podcasts, and we could talk about it because we'll still talk about it again. And if we would eventually turn this into a podcast, so meaning like no visuals, like just super audio. Our experience with podcasts. You go first.
I've been on one. I honestly want to do more, but I've been on one. I would say the experience was like, it was kind of fun. At first I thought like, it was weird because, I'm always behind the camera or in front of one. To do the same thing that I'm doing now, but like no visuals was weird. But the people I went with, the podcast I was on, was like people I knew, so it was like more comfortable. It was Loco, he's been on the show like many times. His podcast sparked the convo. So basically like I was on there. It was a tight room, it was kind of hot, I'm not gonna lie, like I was boiling. But I'm not gonna lie, like even though the episode was like kind of long, it didn't feel long at all. It just felt like a regular conversation that we were just having. So I guess my experience with podcasts was more like, it was just normal. It was just like, yo, you just talking to people normally, but there's just a mic in front of you, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like it was just calm, it was cool, like it was just like a regular day, like yo, we just talking about basketball, or music and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like podcasts is like, it's very different from YouTube or like visuals and stuff, I would say. But it's very cool. My
experience, I was on, when it first came out, it was called Deadbeat Baby Daddy Podcast. Now it's called the Old Papers Podcast. Shout out to Omar, to Elle, Chris, and everybody else. It was fun. I was on with Sin. If you know Venom and Bitch, like that's who was on the show with Christian when we did that episode. So we were talking about fuck buddies, and it was a good conversation because you were getting 2 female perspectives that was like super like raw. Like we were super raw about everything that we had to say, and it was definitely an interesting conversation because they were looking at us like we were crazy, like because we're younger than them and we're talking about the things that should be normalized or that should be people should be comfortable doing, and especially like even at an older age, because it's just like if you're comfortable enough with your sexuality, why are you not comfortable to have sex? Like it is like if you're comfortable enough to like pursue certain things with a partner, why are you not comfortable enough to explore more? Like it's all about boundaries, but also how you know yourself and how you know your body. You can't have a good sexual experience if you don't know yourself or know the things that turn you on or turn you off or turn the other person off or turn them on. Like so it was super interesting, like where our minds were at. They're all, and I was the youngest one there. Like everybody was older than me. Like I was the youngest one there, and I was just like, wow, like this is crazy. And they were like, you're really that young? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm young. Like everybody always asks me that. They're like, yo, you're not 25. I'm like, nah, baby. Let me stay young. Like let me stay young for a little bit, okay? Just for a little bit. We almost there. Give me 2 more years. Like 2 more years and I'll get there. Like, but it was definitely interesting to like be with an older crowd. I definitely would like to do it again. I have a couple of podcasts that I actually want to be on, and I feel like it will be a super good experience. We're actually going to have some podcasters on the show in the future. This season, hopefully, you know, they're still getting back to us. One of them is definitely a go, but the one that I'm going to shout them out again, from Views of an Ex Out. It's a really good podcast. Like, definitely check it out. It's really, really good. We can't forget What's a Good Guy. Like, I love them. Like, I can't forget about you guys. I can never forget about you guys. You guys are amazing. Especially like how they've adapted to like the changes that they had. I think that it's really good. Like, you know, they super changed a lot of their things, and they've grown over time. And I feel like, you know, especially like us as individuals, you know, we've grown over time, and the show has changed. Like, you know, we still talk about the same things or like similar things, but like we're also branching off and we're doing new things. And I feel like, you know, everything comes with change. You just have to know when and where and how and why. Definitely we're gonna get into podcasting more, like both like together and like separately. I think that, you know, it's super fun. You meet new people and you meet new different personalities.
We definitely got about one podcast, so. Well, it wasn't really a podcast, but Between Palm Trees. Yeah.
Yes.
What? Well, they're not really a podcast.
It's a radio show, guys. It's a radio show.
But it's kind of it's like the same thing. It's like a mic and then you talk, but instead of like being recorded, it's more like live.
Yeah, it's a live radio show, and it was definitely interesting though. It's similar to podcasting, but it's just, you know, you're never gonna hear it again because it's like live radio. It's just live radio. So it's like you really have to tune in when, you know,
like when it's happening.
But it was a really good experience. It was a little different for me, because like it wasn't like one straightforward topic. I think I was like kind of thrown off by that a little bit. I was thrown off by it because I'm super like, this is what we talk about. You turn to the spice later on or throughout, but it's just like, it just totally, but I mean, like, everything is different. Everybody has their own, you know, way of doing their own shows. Right. So it was definitely a great experience. I had fun. Like, it was really fun. So would we do our own podcast? Well, I think that we have too much interesting guests not to be live, like a visual show. Yeah. I think that you need to see our facial expressions when we make facial expressions, because you be losing us sometimes. Like, we be losing each other. Like, I be having everybody off the wall sometimes, and it's just like everybody's faces when people say stuff, and then when people be like, wait a second, like past the other week, we was like, wait.
Yeah, it's like
you have to you have to see our faces. I think that just audio, you would like super lose it, and I think that it's definitely a visual thing. Maybe if we started off as like a podcast, maybe it would have been different. But I still think that we would eventually need to have some type of clips. Even if we had clips, I think that we would really have to pinpoint the funny moments. So that's even harder to do if we're not, you know, always filming. So I think no. If we started a new podcast, maybe. But
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, maybe if we did like a podcast outside of the show, then yeah, for sure. But as far as like the show itself, I think you need both like the visuals and audio. So it's kind of like we might as well stick to YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I could say for sure, like after the end of every season, like the bloopers alone be having me weak. Like from season 1, the bed breaking. Even now, like I already know, like editing the bloopers, I know Patrick's gonna have me weak. Like Patrick had me weak like last week and 2 weeks ago. Like
his faces just have you weak. Like that's like
you can't,
when you lose him or when you just say something crazy.
Yeah, like and Pat be wildin', so it's like to lose the visuals of that, like I don't know, I feel like
you're missing a piece of it.
Yeah, I feel like the Need to Know needs the visuals.
Yeah.
Like it's a big piece to the show, so
Definitely.
I don't know.
I think if it was like something totally separate, maybe it would work. But if not, then. So now we're talking about rekindling, guys. And for my story, it's rekindling friendships. For yours, you can pick whichever one is rekindling at the moment, if it's rekindling.
Yeah, it's probably friendship too.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about rekindling friendships. And my rekindling friendship is somebody that I've known, and I feel like everybody from high school is just jumping back. I'll just hit my face. Just jumping back to me. Like, I don't know why, but this person was a really close friend of mine in high school, and we were like this my sophomore year, and we ended up not being cool with each other I didn't know why we stopped being friends, and it just like we stopped being friends super abruptly. And like I didn't like, if we was around each other, like I wouldn't even talk to him. Like that's how like I was not even with it, because it's like I didn't get an explanation of why we weren't talking or anything like that. I just was like, you know what, I guess we're not friends. And everybody like that knew me and knew him were like, you know, why you guys not talking? You guys was cool. And I'm just like, I mean, he stopped talking to me, so like I can't really tell you anything unless he tells you. So a couple years after that, my friend, I know it's a little mixy, but this friend was dating his ex, and it's a little mixy. She told him that she gave him an ultimatum, and that he either he wanted to be my friend or he wanted to be her boyfriend. So I was just like, I mean, I guess that's the reason why, and he picked her. When he asked me, we've been talking recently, and like it's super on and off, but like recently he was like, you know, let me ask you a question. Why did we stop talking? Like, what happened to us? And I was just like, honestly, you have to ask yourself that question, because I honestly don't know. I was like, you stopped talking to me, you know? And it was kind of hard because that was a friendship that I actually liked. And I was like, wow, like, you know, like, how you just gonna stop talking to me and didn't give me a reason why? I said that, and I was like, honestly, like, you have to really ask yourself that question. I was like, you stopped talking to me. A couple years later, like a couple years back, I found out that and he was like, well, I don't really know like why somebody told you that, because that's not what happened. And I was like, well, if that's not what happened, you know, that's not what happened. I was like, I kind of don't really want to know what happened anymore. But if you choose to tell me, if you don't choose to tell me, that's really up to you. But you know, I had already made peace with that situation. So I was like, you know, if that was really what happened, then by all means you picked, you know, let me know, because then I wouldn't put myself in that situation again, that you're gonna pick somebody else over me. Like, you know, that means that you don't like cherish your friendships. I feel like, you know, I'm a type of person that I cherish my friendships. I personally do. Like, that's something that I have a strong, like, this is the bond that I built with somebody. And I cherish that. So it's like, I'm not gonna ever make somebody pick their friend over me, or vice versa. Like, I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. So it's like, your friendship and what you build with somebody is totally separate from the relationship you build with somebody romantically. So I feel like, you know, you should have those boundaries with the person that you're with and yourself. And if you can't maintain that, then that's really on you. But I don't want to put myself in that situation and you could just do it again. Like, I don't really think that, you know, that's something that I want to put myself in. Like I said, I asked why did he ask that question? Like, you know, did you want to be friends again? Like, what were you trying to do? Like, was it just a question to ask? Like, was it just like to clear the air? You know, just so that we're on the same page and like, you know, what we're getting ourselves into in terms of like these encounters, I guess.
Mine isn't necessarily similar, but it's more like, I had a friend who, in high school, I was like kind of not a weird kid, but I was always the quiet kid. So I never really like attracted myself to other people. But there was this one person who was like, you know, she took the same bus route as me. She like met my mom, she moved around me. So it was like, we just naturally became like, towards the end of like high school, like once we graduated, things started to like dim down a little bit, but like I kind of tried to keep it alive. And then, you know, eventually like she decided to go to the Army. And so I was like, all right, cool. Like, you know, like that's the career you want to take. Like, I'm not mad at it or anything. But I kind of knew, like, for those people that like know people in the Army, you kind of know, like, once they go, like, you're not gonna have the same relationship. Like, it's always gonna be, they're too busy, or like they can't hit you up, or like even like the first few months of them going, like they have no cell phone, no nothing, so they can't contact you at all. So like going into that, like when she told me that she was going, like I already knew, all right, for a couple months I'm not gonna hear from you. All right, that's fine. After a while, like, you know, you do get your phone back and shit. So it's like, once she got her phone back and everything, it was kind of like, it felt like our lives just kind of moved apart, like on its own. Even though it's not like we said that we were moving like apart, but it kind of just went that way. And so she was somebody like really close to me. Like she met my mom. She was like, yeah, she basically met my mom. She's been to my house before. Like I've been to her house before. Like I met her dad, her little brother. Like the family bond was so close. Like my brother became like really cool friends with her too. So like for her to leave, like it's not like I was mad at her leaving. It was just more like I was mad that the friendship kind of like diminished. And so fast forward years later, you know, there'll be times where like randomly it just be like, whether it be like 2 o'clock in the morning or like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you just get that random text like blue, and, it's like, and you look, you thinking it's like somebody like you talk to all the time. Like for me, it could be like Serena or Gabby or, you know, even my girlfriend. But like when you see it and you see the person, you just like that's the first. I feel like everybody does that look. You just like, oh fuck.
Where you look at your phone like, wait a second, I'm
like whoa, what? Like
this is the name that popped up in my phone. Like
yeah,
I still have your number.
Like you still got my number? Like what? So like when I opened it, I'm just like, she's just like, oh hey, da da da, like you know, it's been a while. Like how are you? How's your family and everything? And it's like naturally you don't got no like beef towards it because you already made amends about like you know what it is. Like it is what it is. But when they hit you up, it's kind of like you're not angry. You're just more like, I don't really care for this right now. Because it's like at the end of the day, like of course, like you're not gonna be mean on anything because it's not like, well, in my situation, it's not like they did anything wrong. But at the same time, it's kind of like you've already moved along so far in life. That's kind of like to jump back to this, like. Why am I dealing with something that happened, 4 years ago? Of course, you know, I told her family's good, everything's going fine. You know, I'm doing the show, I'm a filmmaker, I graduated college and stuff. I don't know why, like the whole time the conversation just wasn't the same. Like it didn't feel like a natural conversation. It felt like I'm just answering you just to answer you. And then like as time moves along, like, you know, there's certain times like she'll be like, oh, she's too busy, but then like you'll see she posts on Snapchat or she posts on Instagram. So it's like, you wasn't that busy enough to post. And then on top of that, like sometimes like, and I get mad at myself afterwards, like I'll purposely tell myself like, yo, I'm not watching that shit. Like, cause I feel like if I give you attention, it's gonna like, you're gonna feel like,
yeah, like you're
I'm
obligated to come back. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'm not gonna pay attention to you. Like, I'm not gonna block you obviously, cause I feel like that's not all the way necessary. But at the same time, like I'm not gonna give you attention. And I hate this about Instagram. Sometimes you be watching a story and like you forget to close and it goes to somebody else's story.
Oh yeah.
And so that's usually what happens. And then all of a sudden, like I'll get a text like, oh hey, how you been? Blah blah blah. And it's like you wasn't gonna hit me up if I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like even when I see her like posting shit, it be about like everybody else. She promoting everybody else's shit, and it's like, you know, I do the show. You know, I have my own thing. Like, you know, I'm doing a documentary and all. Like, why do I have to ask you to promote my shit? I'm not forcing you to promote it, but it's like, if you're gonna promote everybody else and we were close, it's like, that's kind of like, it's a suspect, like, bro. Like, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I have no like remorse or I have no like anger towards that person, but it's just like at the same time it's frustrating when it's like they constantly like try to come back when it's like I know the same thing's gonna happen over and over. And it's like I've moved so far along in my life to the point where I just don't feel like putting myself in that same energy just to have the same outcome happen again. Like I've already learned my lesson to the point where like I've moved on. Like I've already found new people to kind of fill that void that you left. I mean, we could still be cool, you know. I'm not saying like when people come back like and rekindle friendships, it's like I'm not saying like you can't be their friend no more, but at the same time, like you can't expect it to be exactly the same. Like it's not going to be. Like people grow over time, like change happens. That same person who you thought I was in high school, it's like I'm a totally different person now. Outside of that, like I've grown to do so many things. I have more friends now. Like I've grown accustomed to my life the way it is now, and for you to come back, it's kind of like now you kind of have to. I don't know. It's hard. Like I feel like rekindling friendships, like it's very tough, but it all depends on like who that person is now and who you are. Like if you feel like you could deal with like all of that again, then it's like by all means. But most people, like no.
I think I'm a sucker for like trying to make things like I like peace. So like I'm a sucker for trying to make things like at least peaceful, you know? Like I like things to be, you know, things are said and done. Like I have a lot of, you know, situations that could have like changed and been put into different have different outcomes. I'm distracting them all. One example I can definitely give you is I'm pretty sure, like shout out to her, me and Mary, we've actually were friends since the first grade. We're not as close as we were in high school. We drifted off, so like we weren't like friends or best friends the way that we like were, and it was a lot. Like we didn't until we had a conversation like in college after high school, like recently type of conversation. Like we wouldn't have like been able to like work together or like have like, you know, things going on in our lives and be like, oh, you know, hey, like I want to invite you to this or invite you to that, or like, do you want to do this, da da da, you know? And it's like, you notice that, you know, people have different groups of friends and they like certain things and they do certain things, and you know, so I feel like, you know, over time, like especially once you start to hang out with them and you're like, okay, well, this might not be the type of person I want to hang out for these particular reasons, but we can definitely do this with each other, you know, something that we can definitely relate to on a more like probably a serious level or business level or something, like platonic but not super like, yeah, we're hanging out, you know, drinking and stuff like that. Like everybody's a friend for different reasons, and I feel like that's what, you know, try to rekindle things that you know are necessary for you as well as that person.
Right.
So that's definitely something. Like I'm definitely rekindling a different friendship that I had to work to get that to where it is right now. And even then it's hard because we already drifted too far apart from each other. So trying to drift back is gonna take probably even longer than trying to rekindle it. So it's like, you know, you really have to know where your headspace is at, and you really have to put effort into something that you really want. And you know, you can always fall back. It's not necessary. You're not obligated to always work something out. It's not necessary. But you should know where you want to put your energy at. I think that that's something, and that goes for rekindling anything. Like, for example, if you want to rekindle a past lover and you think that, you know, you and them could be romantic again, like, not all the time that's gonna work, especially if you guys didn't work in the first place. So I think that, you know, that's something that
that's a big point.
What are you just gonna say?
I was gonna say, in terms of like rekindling any relationship, like I feel like the biggest like, I don't know what's the word, like the biggest factor, I guess, for me or anything is just, yo, did that person change? If you notice that the same person as they was before, do not expect something different. Like if you notice, okay, they was a type, like say they like your best friend, but then outside of y'all group, they talking shit behind your back. If you notice like 5 years later, after like you've been dead that, they come back and they're the same person like talking shit about other people behind their back, it's like, you can't expect them to not do that to you. Like they've already done it before. And on top of that, like they're still the same person they was 5 years ago. So in terms of like relationships, like I was never the type to rekindle a relationship, but if I were to, like it has to be like, yo, you changed, like you're different than you was before. Because if you're the same, like it's like we're gonna fall into the same problem that we broke up for in the first place.
I agree. I think that the things that you guys, the reasons why you guys broke up should be the reasons why you guys are, I don't know if this makes sense, but the reasons why you want to work it out and you want to get back together. So because you changed and because you're not the same person, because you grew, because you are, you know, you understand who you are. And I think that the hardest thing to do is be in a relationship while you're trying to grow. I think that you should at least know yourself in some type of way before you do that. It's super hard to try to find yourself individually when you're trying to be a pair, if that makes sense. You should always be growing individually, but when you're trying to figure out who you particularly are and you don't know who you are, I think that that's a problem, because, you know, it's hard to figure out, okay, well, this is who I am, but this is who you met. You met somebody that's not this person that I'm trying to grow into or that I'm trying to, you know, better myself. And it's kind of hard for somebody to adapt to that change if they're not understanding or they're not open to it. So it's like, you have to have somebody that's willing to be open to that change, or willing to be, you know, open-minded to, okay, this person wants to grow and this person is, you know, experimenting with how they see themselves and how they identify with themselves. And you have to know that identity always is going to change if that's the type of person that you are, meaning that things in your life alter how you probably perceive it. So like a lot of people are like that. And I think that sometimes you don't notice it. So people change because of things that happen to them. So it's like if something bad happens to them, they're gonna change how they probably live their life, or how they see things, or how they, wanna go about a situation. Something that also that I've noticed is that you usually adapt to how things are naturally falling into place as well. So that means, now you're gonna change and you're gonna wanna probably do this and do that to give back to other people, or to be more active in certain other things that you probably weren't active in before. So those are also things, but those are good things, but sometimes that takes up your time. So now your partner doesn't have the time that you gave them before. So it's a lot of things that go into that. And then it's also like, if you're not used to your partner being busy or your partner being at home, and then you have all this time, listen, it's all about how you're gonna learn how to adapt to things. And if you're okay with sometimes taking all the pressure and sometimes just laying back. It's always a roller coaster. You have to be ready for a roller coaster. If you're the type of person that likes stability all the time, then you have to find a partner that has stability all the time. You have to find somebody that you're compatible with. Sometimes being the same person is not compatible. So also think about that as well. Do you have any updates? Oh my god, what am I talking about?
Updates. I don't really got much updates. I think as far as the documentary, it's almost done. So yeah, you know what? By the time this comes out, it's pretty much over. So shout out to everybody involved, all the guests, Serena for editing the entire script, and it should be out soon. Probably the end of November and maybe early December, but it's coming soon. It'll be here.
When this episode comes out, my book reading would have been done, so I don't even know what to say about it, but
it was a success. It went well.
It went well. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited at the same time. You can definitely still purchase a book from me. If you want a signed copy, you can purchase a book, but it's going to be limited now because most of them will be gone tomorrow. Well, for the book reading, because I bought them for the book reading. So I'll probably have a couple of copies after I send out the ones that I'm supposed to send out. And other than that, you can order it with me, and that's pretty much it for a signed copy. Other than that, you can get it. It's on all global distribution sites for books now, including Barnes and Nobles. I'm super excited. When I seen it, I was on my way to work, and I was just like, oh my gosh. I texted my mom, I sent her the picture. I was like, yo, it's on Barnes and Nobles now. I was like, wow, it was crazy. And yeah, I'm super excited. I'm about to be an auntie again. Shout out to myself.
Shout out to myself.
Because I'm about to have a spoiled little baby. See, I don't need no kids. Because I got nieces and nephews. I don't need no kids.
What if your boyfriend wanted kids though?
We can have kids, but those are my kids right now. Because that baby gonna have everything. Do you see what's in the stores for little boys? They have the best clothes. They clothes be popping. Yo, little boys' clothes be popping. Yo, you should see the clothes that they both in, popping. Yo, my son gonna be stalling, So yes, you can purchase it on all global distribution sites, even the small little bookstores and stuff like that. I have something new for my website, but we won't talk about it until I'm super ready to talk about it. But I'm excited. Shamar is the first person that's going to be on it, and I'm super excited to post that on my website. The person that I have helping me edit it is my website is super in tune with everything, and she's super always ready for something new. So I'm definitely ready to do something. I am gonna have a new article for you guys as well. It's gonna be about living in quarantine, so I'm definitely prepared to share that with you guys as well. I haven't written an article in a while, so I'm definitely excited about that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. As always, make sure you follow me on social media. My Instagram and my Twitter is Bree the Host.
And y'all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at _WeWantMore.
Follow the Wonderful Shows page on Instagram and Twitter, guys. It's TNTK Show. As always, thank you for watching the show.
And that's all you need to know.
Bye, guys.